Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So we completed till verse number 39, chapter 4. Today we'll start from 40th verse. Let's just see what we did in the previous verses. I'll cover up a couple of verses. And then let's start from verse number 34. So verse number 30, like this section from 34, it's till 42 is the summary of the transcendental knowledge. So in verse number 34, Prabhupada has beautifully explained about the importance of taking shelter of the spiritual master, how we should approach a bona fide spiritual master, not just ordinary spiritual master. He should be connected to the parampara. He should be a bona fide spiritual master, and then one can advance on the spiritual path. So it's very beautiful in detail explained that how just by picking up books from the market and studying on our own, one cannot even become a doctor or engineer. So if that's the case for the material education, then what to say for the spiritual education? We have to we have to take guidance from some experienced person, a realized person. So we need a spiritual master, and spiritual master should be taken up very seriously, not just for a passion or just a status issue. How we have to submit to him, serve him, inquire from him, and then that knowledge, by his mercy, it will be realized by us. It will be applied. Like when the spiritual master is pleased, then the transcendental knowledge that is revealed to us, and then only we can realize it, we can practice it, and by the blessings of the guru, and then we can make spiritual progress, not just by reading the books on our own. Only by pleasing the spiritual master, by the service attitude, by his mercy, that knowledge can be applied by us, realized by us, and then we can make the spiritual progress. So that is the key point from here. Verse number 35. Krishna is telling that what is the result of attaining the knowledge, that everyone is a part and parcel of the Supreme. When one gets that knowledge, then na punar moham, no illusion will ever occur. Then Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna here that by illusion you are thinking that all through people are your relatives and friends, but when you understand that they are my part and parcel, I am there to take care of them. I know when they will leave this body and which body they will take up and all. You're not responsible for all that. Then your illusion will go and you will be at peace. Verse number 36, then Krishna is glorifying the transcendental knowledge. That he is telling that transcendental knowledge, if one takes the boat of transcendental knowledge, then one can easily cross over the ocean of miseries. So how strong the transcendental knowledge is. Apichet, the word is very important here in this verse. It indicates the possibility of the impossible, that even if someone in knowledge is sinful, then also he'll be taken care of. Even if you are most sinful of all the sinners, you will be able to cross the ocean of miseries because of the transcendental knowledge. So anyways, one who is in knowledge will not be sinful, but even if it happens like that, apichet means even if, then also he will cross over the ocean of miseries. Verse number 37, Krishna again tells like how this gyan, this transcendental knowledge, it acts like the fire and it destroys the or burns the wood of karma. So when we act with gyan, then whatever reaction is there for that karma, that is burnt. How a wood is burnt by the fire, and we are free from the bondage. So working with proper consciousness, with proper gyan is very, very important. Then verse number 38, again Krishna is telling that this knowledge is very pure. It's pavitram, yoga samsiddha, mature fruit of all the yoga practices. Nishkam karma yoga. This leads to purification. How? Because one gets transcendental knowledge and one is then satisfied in some time. Kalena, it happens in some time, not just immediately. So when why this all the distress and everything is there, because one has material desires. But when we act in nishkam karma yoga without expecting the result, no desires, then no envy, and one will become peaceful. So it's going to take some time, but it eventually happens like that. So that should be the mood of working. Verse number 39, again Krishna is telling who are eligible to achieve this knowledge. So what are the qualifications required? So Krishna is telling one has to have shraddha, faith. Simply by practicing Krishna consciousness, then everything is achieved. So here again, Nishkam Karam Yoga, when practiced with faith, it will lead to transcendental knowledge. Again and again we are learning that knowledge is inbuilt in Nishkam Karam Yoga. When we act in Nishkam Karma Yoga, knowledge is automatically revealed. And when knowledge is revealed, then we are purified and we become satisfied. So controlling the mind and senses, this word here, Samyat Indriya, in verse number 39, because otherwise one cannot practice any yoga system and focus on the Supreme. So we have to control mind and senses for any yoga practice. Then is the this jnana labhata param shantim jnana sankalpa varjipa. Give up the desire for enjoying the fruit and nishkam karam. So anyways, it's like nishkam karam yoga leads to transcendental knowledge, and that leads to then peace, because we understand that how we are detached from the body, how we have to be detached from the fruits. Coming to verse number 40. Ajnanascha shraddhanascha samshyatama vinashyati nayam lokoasti na paro na sukham samshyatmanah. Barnali Mataji, you can start reading verse number
Yes,
4.
Mata. Hare Krishna. Translation: but ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Purport: out of many standard and authoritative revealed scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita is the best. The persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge faith in or knowledge of the standard revealed scriptures, and some, even though they have not, and some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in these words. And even though others may have faith in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, they do not believe in or worship the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Such persons cannot have any standing in Krishna consciousness. They fall down. Out of all the above mentioned persons, those who have no faith and always doubtful make no progress at all. May remain without faith in God and His revealed word find no good in this world, nor in the next. For them there is no happiness whatsoever. One should therefore follow the principles of revealed scriptures with faith and thereby be raised to the platform of knowledge. Only this knowledge will help one become promoted to the transcendental platform of spiritual understanding. In other words, doubtful persons have no status whatsoever in spiritual emancipation. One should therefore follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. So it's a very interesting verse. So here Krishna is telling about the 3 types of people who cannot achieve transcendental knowledge. Who are these 3 types of people? Ajnanas. So first one is the ajnani people who don't have the knowledge. If we see the second line of the purport, Prabhupada is telling persons who are almost like animals have no faith in or knowledge of standard revealed scriptures. So they don't have faith, they don't have any knowledge. So these are the ajnani people. They cannot get any transcendental knowledge. There is no, they cannot attain God. Then second type is ashradadhanas. Ajnanascha ashradadhanascha. Ashraddha means those people who don't have shraddha. In the previous verse, we talked about shraddha, faith. Shraddha val labhate jnanam. People who have faith, they can attain jnana. And the people who don't have faith, they cannot attain jnana. So again, the next line in the purport only, some, even though they have knowledge of or can cite passages from the revealed scriptures, have actually no faith in these words. So despite having the knowledge, these people don't have any faith. So this is the second type of people who cannot attain transcendental knowledge, peace, or God. Third type is And even though, again in the purport, even though others may have faith in scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, they do not believe in or worship the personality of God as Shri Krishna. So these people are Samshya Atma. Samshya Atma, the doubtful people who have knowledge, who have faith, but they still, keep doubting. They don't believe, they don't apply that knowledge. They don't worship Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though they have some shraddha, they have read the scriptures, they have the knowledge, but the faith is not sound enough, the application is not there, and these people are called samshya atma. Always there is some doubt. Such persons cannot have any standing in Krishna consciousness, they fall down. Okay, so these are the three types of people who cannot attain any happiness. And out of these three types, which is the most dangerous now? The third type. Prabhupada is again telling in the purport, out of the above mentioned persons, those who have faith, those who have no faith and are always doubtful, make no progress at all. Men without faith in God and his revealed word find no good in this world nor in the next. So samshya atma, these doubtful people, they are neither happy here nor they can be happy in their future life, because they are not practicing anything. They are always doubting everything. The next line of the verse, Nayam loko asti na paru. So neither happy in this world, in this loka, nor in the next one. They cannot even attain the higher one in the next life. No advancement, no perfection for such people. So these people, they don't tend to enjoy. Why no happiness in this world? Because they have the knowledge of the scriptures. They know if they do this, they will incur some karma, they will incur this sin, this is pious, this is impious. So they don't tend to enjoy in the material world. They're always fearful of doing something. The guilty feeling is there because of the knowledge they have. That's why, these common people, they say ignorance is bliss. We don't even know what is the result of this act, so we can freely do it. We can just enjoy everything. But these people, they have the knowledge, so they can't be in bliss. They cannot do the wrong activities. They are always shy to do that. So they cannot have any material happiness, and nor they can enjoy the advancement or the perfection, a better life in the next body. So these are the three types of people. Again, that last line Prabhupada is telling, one should therefore follow in the footsteps of great acharyas who are in the disciplic succession and thereby attain success. So the formula for us is that we just have a spiritual master, we stay in the association of devotees, and we follow in the footsteps of great acharyas. They have realized this knowledge. Even if we have some doubt, we should consult them, and by seeing their realizations, we can, by taking their guidance, we can overcome those doubts, and we can apply the knowledge, and we can become successful. So we do have shraddha. It's not that we are shraddhavan, we are not agyani, we are getting the knowledge also by Prabhupada's mercy. And to become sound in this knowledge and application, not to become samshya atma, we should always stay in the association of devotees and follow in the footsteps of great acharyas. Then we can attain success. Moving on to verse number 41. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibandhanti dhananjaya. Who would read next?
I'll read, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you.
One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruit of his actions and whose doubt have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reaction of work. O conqueror of riches. Purport. One who follows the instruction of Bhagavad Gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality of God and himself, becomes free from all doubt by the grace of transcendental knowledge. He, as the part and parcel of the Lord, is full of Krishna consciousness, is already established in self-knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above bondage to action. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so here again, now Krishna is telling that, being doubtful is very dangerous. So what is the remedy for that? Prabhupada has already told us in the purport. So Krishna is telling, if one practices Nishkam Karma Yoga, Sanyasta, Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam. Sanyasta means renouncing the fruits. So that is Nishkam Karma Yoga. If one practices that, then what happens? Jnana Sanchina Samshayam. Jnana Sanchina Samshayam, then Gyan, the Gyan, the knowledge which one will attain from that Nishkam Karma Yoga, that will cut all the doubts. Okay, so Gyan will cut all the doubts which are arising in our heart, and then one will become Atmavantam. Atmavantam is one will be situated in the self then. And na karmani nibandhanti, then he will not be bound by the reactions of the work. Dhananjaya. So this is the result of Nishkam Karma Yoga. And the purport is again very simple and small. So yeah, so that's it. We'll move to verse number 42.
Mataji, which chapter we are reading?
Chapter number 4, Mataji, and we will start with verse number 42 now. This is the last verse of the chapter. We'll complete the chapter now. Chapter 4.
Thanks, Mataji.
Yeah. Tasmadajnana sambhutam hatsatam jnana sitantam jnana sinatmanaha chitvenam shamshayam yogam atishoshita bharata. Chitresh Prabhu, you want to read?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Mata.
Hare.
Translation. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. Purport. The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by living entity. This yoga has two divisions of sacrificial actions. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions, and other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not dovetailed for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But one who performs such sacrifices with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice. When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely understanding of one's own self or one's own constitutional position, and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who follows the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him, there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord. As such, understanding is beneficial, for such a person can easily understand the transcendental activities of the Lord. In the beginning of this chapter, the transcendental activities of the Lord were discussed by the Supreme Lord himself. One who does not understand the instructions of Gita is faithless and is to be considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instructions, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as the eternal, blissful, all-knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number one. Ignorance can be removed by gradual acceptance of the principles of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifices to demigods, sacrifice to Brahman, sacrifice in celibacy, in household life, in controlling the senses, in practicing mystic yoga, in penance, in foregoing material possessions, in studying the Vedas, and in partaking of the social institution called Varnashrama Dharma. All of these are known as sacrifice, and all of them are based on regulated action. But within all these activities, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of Bhagavad Gita. But one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. One is therefore advised to study Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture under a bona fide spiritual master with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession from time eternal. and he does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord as they were imparted millions of years ago to the Sun God, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad Gita have come down to the earthly kingdom. One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the Supreme Person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of Bhagavad Gita. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to fourth chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of transcendental knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. So we complete chapter 4 today. So this verse Prabhupada has actually summarized the entire chapter here in the purport, and Krishna is finally giving an instruction to Arjuna. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So Krishna is instructing Arjuna that whatever doubts you have, which are there in your heart, can be destroyed by the weapon of knowledge. And when once again, like I have given you the knowledge, once you are in knowledge, get up and fight, perform your duty. So this is the Krishna ends this chapter by giving this instruction to Arjuna, and Prabhupada has again summarized the entire chapter. If you have any doubt from this purport or this chapter, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll move to chapter 5. There's not much to explain here. It's just that Krishna is giving instruction and Prabhupada is summarizing the entire thing.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
What is and is considered to be misusing the fragmental independence to awarded to him by the Lord.
Yeah. So Krishna has given us slight independence, Mataji, right? He doesn't force us to do anything. We all have the free will. It's called free will. So we have the free will, and whatever Krishna has given us choices. If you want to come back to me, this is the path. You can follow this. He has made all the arrangements for us. Then we can go back to Krishna. And if you want to just forget him, you want to get away from him, then Krishna fulfills that desire also. If our desire is sincere, Krishna definitely fulfills it. If we want to go back to him, if you want to move towards him, he makes all the arrangements for that. If you want to forget him, Krishna makes all the arrangements for fulfilling that desire also. That's why, we say that why some people, even, despite being told about Krishna so many times, despite being given Bhagavad Gita and telling, they are still not able to understand, because Krishna is not allowing them to understand. They don't have a sincere desire to understand Krishna. Their free will is that we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. We don't want to go to him. We don't want to serve him. So Krishna is like, okay, stay here, be in Maya, and keep enjoying on your own. If you think this is enjoyment, you will learn the lesson hard way or easy way. So be here. So free will is given to all of us. Because why Krishna has given us free will? Because love cannot happen by force. Can we force somebody to love us? It's a free will, right? Yeah. So and what is our relationship with Krishna? It's a relationship of love. That's the ultimate goal. We have to love God. We have to understand our position, our relationship with respect to Krishna. We have to act accordingly, and we have to develop love for him, pure love for him. And love cannot happen with force. Otherwise, Krishna can do anything in a minute, just in a moment. He can just turn our heart, turn our mind towards him, but he doesn't do that because he doesn't force us. Love cannot be attained by force. We cannot even force our kids to love us. We have to just do our duty, show compassion, be nice to them, and naturally in that relationship, that love that generates. So Krishna here is telling one who does not understand, one who does not understand the instructions of the Gita is faceless and is to be considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. So if one is not developing faith in Bhagavad Gita, if one is not developing faith in Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he is misusing the free will that he is being given. What is the right use of the free will? Bandali Mataji? But did you understand?
Yeah, Mataji. Learning to love God. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Love.
is the right use of our free will. Whatever choice Krishna has given us, we should use it in the right way. And what is the right way? Advancing towards Krishna, advancing
Krishna.
to the spiritual path. If we are getting away from that, we are not developing any faith and love for Krishna, we are misusing that faith. Okay,
Yes,
Mataji?
Mataji. Yes,
Thank
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
you, Mataji. Yeah, you got a very good line from the Prabhupada. Good. Anybody else? Any other question? Okay, so we'll move towards number 5. I think after completing the first 6 chapters, we can just do an overview of each chapter. We'll see that when we complete the 6 chapters, and then we can go for a quiz or something. Okay.
Manav,
So,
I have a question.
yes, yes.
Sorry, I was unable to unmute myself.
No
Uh,
problem.
so, reading through the purports of this chapter and
Mm-hmm.
the previous ones,
Mm-hmm.
um, like there is one, like in chapter 2, verse 12, it is very clearly said that eh, all beings are individual beings. Their individuality was there in the past
Mm-hmm.
and it will always be there in the future.
Yes.
And in the purports in like chapter 4,
Mm-hmm.
like in that verse of chapter 2, verse 12, it is clearly said that the Mayavadi theory of killing the individuality and merging into an impersonal
Yes.
Brahman, that is not supported by Krishna. But
Yes.
then in subsequent chapters, like in this, like chapter 4 also,
Mm-hmm.
in the purports it is said that if someone wants to kill the individuality and merge into the impersonal subordinate feature of the Lord, that is the Brahma Jyoti, then that is also awarded. Like God fulfills that desire also. So there's a little mismatch which I
Where,
found and I
uh,
wanted to check.
Prabhupada, I mean, where did you see that individuality is finished? Prabhupada has never written that in Prabhupada. Chapter 2, 12th verse, I got it. You know, na tveham jatu nasam na tvam neme janadipa na jayavana bhavisham sarve vayam adaparam. So that is true. We all have been individual beings in the past. Now also we are individual beings, and in future also we all will be individuals. So individuality is maintained all through. I didn't get the second part of your question. You are saying in 4th chapter in the purport, that means Prabhupada is telling that. Prabhupada never says that our individuality is finished.
So no,
Individuality
like not saying that, but the purport says like if someone desires
can, can
to
you
kill
point out the verse number? Which purport are you talking about?
that one I don't remember right now, but maybe I can bring it up later then maybe next in the next session. So
Okay, no.
it's not about like Prabhupada saying that individuality will be killed, but it's like if someone desires, then
Yeah.
Krishna
Yeah,
fulfills.
yeah. Those are the impersonalist. Yeah, if somebody impersonalist people who don't believe in the personal form of the Lord, that's the lowest level of the realization, Brahma Jyoti or impersonal realization. Then the destination of those people is merging in the Brahma Jyoti. Merging in the Brahma Jyoti doesn't mean losing their individuality. They are just floating beings in the Brahma Jyoti, in the spiritual effulgence of the Lord, whereas they are not having any relationship, any connection with the personal form of the Lord. They are only in the impersonal form of the Lord. Brahmjyoti is what? It's the spiritual effulgence, the spiritual light emanating from the body of Lord Krishna. And in that light, all the spiritual planets, they are there. And actually the light which is coming to our material world also, from sun and all the stars and moon and all, this is all light from the spiritual effulgence of Krishna only. So in that spiritual effulgence that is in between material and the spiritual world, these impersonalists, they just can reach only till that level. They get out of the material world, but they stay only in the spiritual light, the spiritual effulgence. They merge in the spiritual effulgence, means they stay only there. Merging doesn't mean they lose their individuality and they all just become one with that spiritual effulgence, with the Brahma Jyoti. That is not the meaning of the merging. Merging, we can never merge with Krishna. We are his part and parcel. We all are individual beings. That's what in verse number 12 very clearly it is specified. We are parts, we were parts, and we will always be parts. So this Brahma Jyoti merging thing, this is the lowest type of realization. It's a Prabhupada doesn't appreciate it because we don't have any relationship with Krishna at that level. And without having any relationship, any service, what will one do there? For how long one can just keep staying, alone, just floating around? Okay, I'm very peaceful, I'm away from the material distresses. For how long one can be there? So then what happens? There is risk of falling down. He again wants to have some relationship. He wants to enjoy different types of rasas. And for that, then he comes down. He falls down to the material world. So it's not appreciated, it's not recommended for us, to just desire that type of liberation, just going to the Brahma Jyoti. And some fortunate souls who get, higher taste, or who get proper guidance, they can go higher also from the Brahma Jyoti level, but that is rare. So there is a risk of falling down. So Prabhupada doesn't appreciate that. I don't know what your actual question is. You can maybe point out whatever you are saying in the next class, Prabhuji. But is it
No,
something
no,
on
that answers. That's answered. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Prabhuji. So we'll start with chapter number 5 now. Chapter number 5, Karam Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So this chapter, again, it's not a very big chapter, and it's divided into few sections. The first section is still verse number 6, and it's called Karam Yoga. And like Karam Yoga is greater than or is better than Karam Sannyas. Karam Sannyas is giving up the Karam. And Karam Yoga, Nishkam Karam Yoga, what we have discussed now very well. And from verse number 7 to 12, Krishna is telling about Nishkam Karam Yogi. So Nishkam Karam Yogi here, he is like, an elevated Nishkam Karam Yogi, a very advanced Nishkam Karam Yogi who has now become a Jnani. So he's called a Jnani here. From verse number 13 to 16, Krishna is talking about relationships between Ishvara, Jiva, and Prakriti. Verse number 17 to 26, Krishna will talk about the vision of a Jnani. And 27-28, Krishna will give introduction to Dhyan Yoga. That is the next chapter. And verse number 29 is a very important verse. That is the peace formula for all of us. Okay. So actually, just to understand the connection between the previous chapters and this chapter. So in third chapter, the chapter's name is Karam Yoga. So we understood about Nishkam Karam Yoga. And in chapter number 4, which we just completed, Krishna talked about Karam Yoga, and then the sacrifices which result Karam Yoga, and the sacrifices, different types of sacrifices we understood there, how they result in Gyan. They all result in transcendental knowledge. And here, Krishna in chapter number 5 is talking about the characteristics or the qualities of a Jnani, a person who has now got the Gyan because of acting in Nishkam Karam Yoga. So this chapter is basically it's a description of a Jnani. Verse number 1, Arjuna Uvacha Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punariyogam cha samshayi yashreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, should I read?
Barnali Mataji. Let's check Mataji if somebody else.
Okay,
I think this SL, who is SL Mataji or Prabhuji?
Prabhuji, Mataji, I will read. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Translation. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Purport. In the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work is devotional service, is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because being transcendental is nature. It frees one from reaction. In the 2nd chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. How to get out of this material entanglement engagement by Buddhi Yoga or devotional service was also explained therein. In the 3rd chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. And in the 4th chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. However, at the end of the 4th chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation is knowledge, involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyasa or renunciation is knowledge, should be altogether free from all kinds of activity. Before work and renunciation appears to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge. That work in full knowledge is non-reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. He inquires, therefore, whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So this question, it's kind of a similar question to the very first verse where Arjuna is asking Krishna of the 3rd chapter, 1st verse. Arjuna is asking a similar question to Krishna there also. Arjuna said, "O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work?" So there also he was like, I should renounce, use my intelligence and give up all these activities. They will bind me and they will cause reactions and all that. And here also he's saying, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" So why, 3rd chapter entire Krishna spoke, 4th chapter Krishna spoke, 5th chapter again Arjuna is asking the same question. Yoga sannyasta. The word here is yoga sannyasta karmana. He thought that Krishna is telling take sannyas. And 4.42 here if you see, so this first verse, it has connection to the last 2 verses of the previous chapter, of the 4th chapter. In 41st verse, Krishna told yoga sannyasta karmana. So Krishna actually told that he didn't say that you have to take sannyas from karmana. He's thought that Krishna is telling me take sannyas, don't do any karma. And in 42nd verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna to stand up and fight. So he's getting confused that what are you telling me? I'm not getting it. Actually, Arjuna didn't have the purpose, which we have by Prabhupada to understand the deeper meaning. So he's getting confused again and again. Though Krishna spoke entire 3rd and 4th chapter, he's still not getting the answer. 1 second. Okay, so that's why he's just developing doubt and he's again confused. And in the purport, Prabhupada is telling the last part of the purport. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. So the word here which Krishna is telling, yoga sannyasta karmanam, Krishna is telling that sannyas, don't have to take sannyas from karma. You have to take sannyas from the fruits of the karma. You have to work in nishkam karma yoga. You have to work in that. So he's not having that knowledge. He didn't understand that we have to work in full knowledge, that we don't have to be attached to the result. Result doesn't belong to us. It belongs to Krishna. So he is not, if he has not understood that if work in full knowledge is non-reactive. If we work in that mode, then we will not get any reaction and is therefore the same as inaction. Even if we are doing action, it is equal to inaction because we are not getting any reaction. And he inquires therefore whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. So again, his next verse, you are telling me that get up and fight, and somewhere you are telling me that don't do anything, just take sannyas from the karma. So he's getting confused. So now let's see what Krishna will tell. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, verse number 2. Sannyasa karma yogascha nishreyaskarava ubhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yoga vishishyate. I think Banali Mataji, now you can read.
Yes, Mataji. Translation: the personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation, but of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Purport: fruitive activities seeking sense gratification are cause for material bondage. As long as one is engaged in activities that aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 5, Canto 5, verse 5.4 to 6, confirms this as follows. Nunam. Should I read the whole verse, ma'am, Mataji?
You can leave the Sanskrit part, Mataji. Just read the translation, English only. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. People are mad after sense gratification and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving one trouble in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results for sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for the devotional service to Vasudeva. One only then can one have the opportunity to get out of bondage of material existence. Therefore, jnana, or knowledge that is not this material body, but that one is not this material body but spirit soul, is not sufficient for liberation. One has to act in the status of spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. Action is action in Krishna consciousness is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has no work on the one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps one escape the result of fruitive action so that one need not descend to the material platform. Therefore, action in Krishna consciousness is always superior to renunciation, which always entails a risk of falling. Renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete, but incomplete, as is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhaktivedanta Rasamrita Sindhu. I'm skipping the verse, Mataji. I'm reading this translation.
Yes, please move. Yeah.
When persons eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, this renunciation is called incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then where is the question of renunciation? One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of the Mayavadi school. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So what is Krishna's answer now? What should Arjuna do? So Krishna is telling the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So the word here, sannyasah karma yogascha. Cha means and or also. Nishreyas karav ubahu. So both of them are good at first. for liberation, both of them are good. Karma sannyas as well as what do you call this, the karma yoga, renunciation of work or work in devotion, that is karma yoga. But then second line he says, karma yoga vishishyate. Vishishyate is better. Karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. Why? We have read this in third chapter also, in karma yoga chapter also. Prabhupada explained very nicely about it, that how karma yoga, it doesn't bear the faults that can arise in practicing Gyan yoga. Gyan is, the second thing is, Gyan is contained within Karma Yoga also. So Karma Yoga is better than Gyan Yoga. Why Gyan Yoga has got faults? Anybody remembers? Mithyachari and all, we did that. Karma sannyas, if one takes sannyas at an immature stage, then he becomes a mithyachari, he becomes a pretender. If there is fault in consciousness of a person who has taken sannyas, then he becomes a mithyachari, a pretender. There is a great risk then. If he's not completely purified and he takes sannyas, then he's at a great risk. He cannot, after taking sannyas, he cannot come down to the level of karma yoga. He cannot become a grasta or a fruity worker again then to purify himself. So that's why it's very important that without, full purification of the heart, one should not take sannyas. One's mind can, meditate, one can control his karamindriyas, one can control his working senses. Okay, I've taken sannyas, I will not do the activities like the normal people. He can control his working senses, but his gyan indriyas will not be controlled. His mind will keep meditating upon the sense objects. Mansa Smaran, always meditating upon the material things. And then he will become a mithyachari, a pretender sannyasi. And that is very sinful for him. And there is no way out for him then. His heart is not pure, he cannot advance. He is always meditating upon the sense objects. Though in the attire externally he looks like sannyasi, but mentally he's always engaged in the activities of the senses. So he cannot advance, and he cannot even come back to the lower level to purify himself. So it's a very risky if one takes karam sannyas at an immature stage. And the benefits of Nishkam Karam Yoga, there are 3 benefits Prabhupada is telling. Nishkam Karam Yoga is easier to perform. What we have to do in Nishkam Karma Yoga? No austerities. We have to simply perform our prescribed duties, being detached from the fruits, right? That's easier than taking sannyas, undertaking so many austerities, controlling our senses altogether, not doing anything and all that. That's really difficult, especially in Kali Yuga. And second point for Nishkam Karma Yoga is it is safer. There is no risk of fall down. Slowly, gradually, we keep trying. We have to be detached. Yeah, one time we could be, attached. 2 times we were able to be detached. We keep trying, we keep practicing, and we keep getting purified, and we keep elevating. So it is safer. There's no risk of falling down. There is a possibility of only going higher. And the third benefit of Nishkam Karma Yoga is that the Gyan is automatically contained within it. Naturally, then the Gyan will be revealed. Naturally, we'll be able to control our senses, mind, everything. So this process will help us to only go higher in an easier, safer, and natural way. So it is better than Karam Sanya. So this is what Krishna is telling, and Prabhupada is telling us in the purport. It's a long purport, but again, Prabhupada is talking about Krishna consciousness here. If you see the second paragraph of the purport, without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. So this is again about the Karam Yoga and Karam Sannyas. If the heart is not purified, if the desires are not gone from the heart, one should not take sannyas. one should continue doing his fruitive activities, his prescribed duties with full knowledge. As long, and what is the knowledge? That we have to do it for Krishna. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps one escape the result of fruitive action, so that one need not descend to the material platform. Therefore, action in Krishna is always superior to renunciation, which always entails the risk of falling. So again, same thing. So it's better for us to just use everything in Krishna's service, and we don't have to do Falgu Vairagya and all. I think we should talk about it later on. So renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete. Just giving up things and not using them for Krishna is not going to help us. Renouncing them just at an immature level is not going to help us. Again, going down in the purport, renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord, and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. So we should have proper understanding. Whatever we have, it is Krishna's. It is just given to us. Whatever we deserved as per our previous karma. Prabhupada has told here about the body also. People are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Whatever we did in the previous life, the result of that karma is this body. And whatever we will do now, we will get a future body. So this body is temporary, and it's always giving us some or the other trouble. It's the first paragraph of the purport only. So we need to have this understanding. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. So we need to, this is the first principle of spiritual knowledge. We need to know who we are. We are not this body, but we are the spirit soul. This is the first inquiry we have to make. This is the first real inquiry. The inquiry about our real identity. And when we learn about this identity, we have to act accordingly. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudev. So mind cannot be controlled immediately, but it's easier to control the working senses. Our gross senses, our eyes, nose, hands, all these working senses can be controlled easily. So we can engage them in Krishna's service. We can see Krishna's form by our eyes. We can smell the flower by our nose. We can taste the prasadam by the tongue. We can make garlands for him. We can do abhishekam of the Lord with our hands. With our feet, we can walk to the temple. So all these indriyas can be engaged in Krishna's service, and then slowly and gradually mind gets controlled. So Prabhupada is again just telling us the process. And the key point is that we should work in Nishkam Karam Yoga. This is actually Karam Yoga section, so that's what we are talking about here. Of course, for us, Bhakti Yoga is the supreme. So working in Nishkam Karam Yoga is advised here, and it's called out to be better than Karam Sannyas. The benefits and the faults of Karam Sannyas we discussed here. Moving on to verse number 3. Verse number 3. नेयस नित्य सन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न कांक्षते निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखम बंधात परमुच्यते. Minu Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
One who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna. Purport. One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred or desire for the results for his action. Such a renouncer dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole, and that he is the part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Because knowledge that one is equal yet different in quantity, is correct transcendental knowledge, leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire or lament over. There is no duality in his mind, because whatever he does for Krishna, being thus freed from the platform of dualities, he is liberated, even in his material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
There's a more, Mataji, to read?
No, Mataji. That's it. Purport of third chapter, of the third verse you had to read, and that's over. Okay, so here now, in the previous verse, we saw how Krishna told that Nishkam Karam Yoga is better than Karam Sannyas. Now, if someone asks, someone questions that will a Nishkam Karam Yogi also attain liberation? So Krishna is giving answer to that here, that yes. Why? Because he's as good as a sannyasi. Why? Because he's not attached to the fruits. And because he's not attached to the fruits, he is free from the dualities, which arise due to the fruits only. And therefore, he is free from the bondage. Bandhat paramuchyate. Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat param uchyate. So he is completely free from the bondage. So he can also attain liberation, Arjuna. So in the purport again, Prabhupada is telling the concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect, because the part cannot be equal to the whole. I think, Prabhuji, this is somewhat, what we were discussing, how we are parts of Krishna, and we cannot merge with him. We all are different parts, and we maintain our individuality, and we cannot be equal to Krishna. But because we are part of the whole, we have the same qualities, but in very, very minute quantity. So having nothing to spare or to lament, there is no duality in his mind, because whether he does it for Krishna. So again, it's about same thing only what we discussed. So he has full knowledge in the previous verse, and in this verse, Prabhupada is just telling us that first of all, we need to have a knowledge of our constitutional position, that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme. We can never be equal to him, and we have to serve him. We are not this body. We are the spirit soul. This is the first knowledge we need to have. When we have this knowledge, we act with that knowledge, being detached from the fruit, doing everything for the whole, for the supreme. Then we cannot become bound by the reactions. We will be free from the dualities, and we will be happy. We will be happy here in this life, and we will be perfecting our human form of life also, and we'll be advancing on the spiritual path. We'll be able to attain the goal, in our next life. We will advance towards the goal at least. So this is what Prabhupada is just telling in the previous verse, and here it's already 8:04. I just know the time. So anything, any questions or any doubts, anything you want to add or share, any comments till here?
Mataji, one small clarification I needed. Yeah, in this purport, we say that we should not have any expectation of any fruit while doing any kind of services to Krishna, right? But whenever I chant or I pray to him, or do any kind of prasadam or any kind of services, still that anxiousness is there. Is it accepted by the Lord or no? Or am I doing it right or no? Kind of a thing. So how do I interpret it? Fruits, or this expectation, is it equivalent to the fruits?
You tell me, but is that a material desire? Is that anxiety a material anxiety?
No, it's not material.
No,
it is not material.
It's not to satisfy your senses, right? It's to satisfy Krishna only. Am I able to satisfy him properly? Am I doing my best? So that's a spiritual anxiety, and that's good for our progress. If we have spiritual anxiety, that will help us to move on, become better. So
Okay.
it's good to have that, but not be too anxious, and so that we are not even able to do our service properly. It's good to have that mood that I couldn't do my best and I need to do even better, but we should focus on the service which we are doing currently. And yeah, later we can think about it, but I understand how to have done it. There's no problem about it. It's perfectly fine. It's a spiritual anxiety, a spiritual desire to serve Krishna even better. So it's not going to cause any bondage.
And Mataji, Hare Krishna, and what about, of course, Lord, satisfying the Lord is one thing, or satisfying the anxious, being anxious that am I, will my Guru will be happy whatever I'm doing? That is also that
Yes, yes.
that is
It's a
also
one.
good.
Yes, yes, wonderful, Mataji. Always we have to think about this only. Whatever activity we do, whatever, activity just doesn't mean by our physical body, by our words, mind, thoughts, whatever we do, we should first think, is it going to please my Guru and Krishna? Even if we have some thought, we should think, oh, am I thinking right? Will my Guru and Krishna be pleased by this thought? Because slowly and gradually the thoughts turn into actions. So it's good to check it at that point itself. Whenever something comes up in our mind, we should think about it. Oh, is this right desire? Is this right thought? Will it please my Guru and Krishna? And then whatever action we perform, we should see. And
Oh,
it's a good thing to control our anarthas also. Sometimes in provoking situations, we become angry. We don't behave, in an apt way. So it's a good way to control that. Also, we should pause and think. Will my reaction or my response please my Guru and Krishna? If yes, then I should go ahead with this action. Otherwise, I should restrain from it. So that can really save us from the bad reactions and from the bondage and from committing offenses in all sort of ways. So it's a wonderful thing, Mataji. All the time we should think about it. Am I able to please my Guru and Krishna?
okay.
All we can do. That's all we can do. We can only do endeavor to please our Guru and Krishna. And then when they are pleased, this knowledge can be revealed to us. On our own, we cannot apply this knowledge. We cannot realize this knowledge. Our effort is only to please them. And when they see that we are sincerely putting all, our efforts, we are trying our best to please them, whatever the instructions they have given us, we are trying to follow that. Then they are pleased, and by their mercy, we can advance towards Krishna. So it's so nice, Mataji. Continue having that thought and
Thank you.
keep inspiring us also. Yeah. Okay.
Mataji, on the same
Yes.
lines, the action which is like, like I'll just take example of any office work or any business work that we are doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
like Krishna has been telling us in chapter 3, like any work, any karma should be done as a yajna to Vishnu. So, how do we comprehend such actions, like which certainly, like doing, working hard in business is of course for, it's going to bear some fruit, good or bad, that's a different thing, but
Mm-hmm.
like by nature of it, it is a
Yes.
very very material activity. So how can
Yes.
that be like
Mm.
dovetailed towards
So
devotional, I guess, yajna?
yes, Prabhuji. So what Krishna asked Arjuna, what did he ask him to do on the battlefield? To get up and
Right.
fight, right? Do the
Yeah.
activity of the Kshatriya. But in what mode? Do
In
it for pleasure of Krishna,
to
taking it as
Krishna.
an
Yeah.
instruction of Krishna. So sacrifice means yajna arthat karmano. So yajna means doing it for the satisfaction of Vishnu, for the satisfaction of Krishna. So we are also in the battlefield. Every day we are in the battlefield from morning till night. So whatever we are doing, we have to do it for the satisfaction of Krishna. Krishna, I have come here and I have to do, we have to, do it by honest means, coming to the practical aspect of it. Whatever duties we have to do, we have to, Krishna only has prescribed that to us. It's the Varnashram Dharma, we have covered that up. Like in Grasta Ashram, we have several duties. We have to take care of our dependents in so many ways. We have to take care of the body and the soul and emotional aspects and so many aspects. It's our duty to take care of the dependents. So for taking care of the body, we have to earn the bread also to keep the body and soul together. And for nourishing the soul, we have to guide our dependents in the spiritual knowledge also. Right. So these are the duties of parents, of a king, and of a guru. One should not become a king. One should not become a guru. One should not become mother or father unless and until they can deliver their dependents. So it's a very responsible role we are playing in Grastha Ashram. And to keep the body and soul together, we have to earn the bread also. But how we have to do that? We have to do it by honest means, because that is the instruction of Krishna. Krishna tells us we have to do it to keep the body and soul together, to nourish my dependents. I'm doing it, Krishna, because that's your instruction for your pleasure. I should not engage in any faulty means to earn money. I should not become greedy. I should not engage in any illegal means. I should do my best. I have to seek promotion. I have to seek hike in the salary. There's nothing wrong in that. And a part of that salary, whatever we are earning, we are using it in Krishna's service only, right? Monthly donations we make. And whatever money we are getting, whatever we are purchasing with that, we are offering it to Krishna. The food we are first offering to Krishna. Whatever clothes we get, we first offer to Krishna. We thank him for everything we get. And we tell him, Krishna, it belongs to you. Whatever intelligence you have given me, with that I am able to earn this. And please guide me how to use it. We are not using it for watching movies and for the total sense gratification which other peoples do. We don't know what all activities they engage in, for drinking and all the parties on the weekends. That is sense gratification. What work we are doing it as a duty in the Grasta ashram, and we are using all the result in a proper way, the way which is instructed by Guru and Krishna. Is that okay, Prabhuji? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Hare Krishna Mata.
So do your best in office. You should not be let down. Another thing, just being practical in office, you have to become a Kshatriya. Don't become a Brahmana there. That I'm humble, I don't know anything, boss, manager, whatever you say, I'll do that. No, then we will be crushed. So there you have to be very strong. You have to put your strong foot as a Kshatriya, yes, I'm fully equipped with my knowledge and with everything. And you have to give your best. But for whom? Not for boosting your ego. That, see, I did so good and everybody praised me and I got, likes and my boss appreciated me in front of everybody. Not for that. Just to please Krishna, we have to do our best. As a brahmachari also, the students have to do the best. That is their dharma, to study. It's not that they will say, oh no, we don't have to study. Result is dependent on Krishna. We should not be attached to result. So it doesn't matter we pass or fail. No, it's their dharma to do their best in the studies. The only thing is they should not be disturbed by the result. And same thing with us. We should not be disturbed by the result. Even if by working very hard, doing our best, what we were supposed to do, we did not get the hike or we did not get the appraisal, no problem. It's Krishna's wish. Whatever is Krishna's plan, we will go with that. We will not be attached to the result. Whatever result we get, we use it in Krishna's service and we stay at peace. We should not be disturbed. But doesn't mean we become lazy or we become immature sannyasis. Okay? We have to connect everything to Krishna. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So
Thank you, Mataji.
yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, for asking the question. Okay, so we'll continue next time. I think next week is Diwali, so might not be possible for most of you to join. So we will have the class the following week then. In the meantime, you can go through the purports. We are close to completing the first section of Bhagavad Gita. So I don't know, I feel that we should have a review of this first section first and then move on to the next section. Otherwise, whatever you people suggest, we'll go with that.
Yes, Mata.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. May Srila Prabhupada be pleased by our sincere efforts of reading his scriptures. Our only intention is to serve and please him. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.